Have you ever thought about how Gragas could be improved? Yeah, me neither. Hailing in all the way from the 90s, modding games has always been a big part of the niche communities. It all started with modding classic Doom. It went through turning Skyrim into totally different games. And now Garfield became part of Stray. I mean, even Undertale started as a mod of Earthbound. Simply said, modding has always followed along with the greatest hits of gaming, which means even League of Legends wasn't spared. And in fact, modding in League of Legends has kickstarted entire careers for creators. If you go back a few years, okay, actually 9 years, yeah, we're all dying, you might find some familiar names which played with custom skins. Anything from Yoshi Kog'Maw to Pickle Rick. But you see, while this trend of League of Legends videos based on actual comedy, instead of measuring who has the biggest testicles on a made-up leaderboard, was arguably the golden era of League's content creation, these days you might find that kind of content utterly extinct. Because Riot broke it. You see, over the years, League's engine has actually been updated. It's not an update the players would ever really notice, but anyone who has ever dug into the files might have noticed that things changed. During the prehistoric levels, the animations for champions functioned on a very basic level. Every champion had very simple animations that would trigger during very simple tasks. You press Q, your Q animation plays. You run, your running animation plays. You use your ultimate animation plays. Nothing really complex. On top of that, the skeleton that drove the animations was simple too. It was all just simple bones moving simple mesh attached to it. And that was regardless of what was attached to it. Meaning that with the good old overwriting of files, you could reskin the entire champion by taking the existing skeleton and attaching a different mesh to it. Of course, keep in mind that all of this was client-based. In other words, only you could see it. So while in your game all Shakos might have turned into Ronald McDonald, for everyone else it still looked like Shako. That's why all of this was always seen as just a silly thing to do for some fun. But then, Riot broke the fun when they updated their engine. The models would now no longer have pre-animated states that would exist on a binary level, that being either the animation plays or it doesn't. Instead, they swapped to a system that allowed the animations to be blended together. A really good early example of this would be Lucian. He was one of the first champions to actually utilize it. If you look at Lucian's ultimate, you might notice that it has 2 layers. The first layer is just Lucian pointing his guns and running around. Depending on in which direction he is running and in which direction he is pointing his guns, the animation would swap to match his footwork. But on top of that, you have the second layer of the animation, which only affects his hands and the guns. Everything else remains in the base state, or in this case, the base running state. The second layer is a separate animation, so it can be sped up or slowed down depending on Lucian's attack speed. Amazing, right? But this whole new system is not exactly the thing that broke everything. That was just one obstacle. It was more of a combination with the physics-based animations, such as flowing tails or semi-transparent textures, and the simple fact that Riot introduced a new compressed format for their 3D models. And it took the modding community a while to figure out how to work in this new environment. Which is why, for a few years, the modding community disappeared. But recently, you might have noticed it arrived with a comeback. Because years later, not only did the modding community figure it out, but they also set up new tools which makes modding a breeze. With websites such as Killer Skins, LOLskin Empire, or even Runeforge.io leading the charge. All while everyone is still using the tools called CS LOL Manager, or Custom Skin LOL Manager, which was updated for the modern standards. But now you may be wondering, is this even allowed? Isn't modding the League of Legends files gonna get you banned? I mean, you can definitely do some things which would give you advantages in-game, to which I should add, yes, that is technically true. For the most part, Riot is okay with people having silly fun. Because at the end of the day, it is just silly fun. You don't actually get any skins for free, and everyone still sees you for what you really are. A fraud. And all you're really doing is just running the risk of crashing your own game. So while Riot is not encouraging it because it can be seen as an alternative to actually buying skins, it is all still relatively meaningless, and so Riot will not go after you to take you down. That's with one exception. Because what did happen in the past is that some people created a version of Summoner's Rift, which just showed you the range of all turrets. Which means that you did get a very good gameplay advantage. For that, there were some casualties. But outside of that, when it comes to silly skins, you're gonna be fine. What's funny is that even on the larger websites, just to be safe, they have a whole section talking about whether you can be banned. And right here there is a line: custom skins, according to Riot, are used at your own risk. Like, what? Is that Riot's quote? It's Riot's terms of service. Their word is golden. Why would they vaguely threaten people? What is this supposed to mean? Anyway, with all of this laid out in front of you, I want to show you some of the silliest skins you can find on the internet, as well as some massive projects that people should be paying attention to. So without further ado, let's dive into some silly things. For the most part, when it comes to custom skins, the simplest thing to make, despite what Riot argued in the past, would be chroma skins. You are literally just painting over the texture while everything else stays the same, meaning that you'll find a lot of these on the internet. For example, you don't like how happy-go-lucky Yumi is? How about you turn her into a gothic creature? Wanna turn Viego into an eyesore? Here you go! Or how about a very simple chroma for Yasuo? You see, these skins are fine, but they are not exactly something I would download an entire skin manager for. So, the second stage of creating custom skins would be something called kit bashing. Essentially, it is taking parts of already existing League of Legends skins and mashing them together. And this can be done with other League of Legends skins or entire models from different games. So, for example, if you don't like the base boring look of Ornn and Volibear, how about Poro Ornn or Poro Bear? Or what about Zixshan, which is as stupid as it sounds. Not as dumb as Corki riding Cho'Gath though. But then, things can also get a lot more interesting. By taking the dress from Star Guardian Kai'Sa, you can make Star Guardian Kayn, which also comes in with its own Star Guardian Rast. Or how about Tahm Kench, the Hat Edition? It's just his hat. Everywhere. Still not weird enough? How about a Vel'Koz skin where he's watching the entirety of the Shrek movie on loop? Also, do you remember how cool the original Tryndamere's blade was? If only there was a way to bring it back. Just a blade, not Tryndamere. That was an awful model, but yeah. Another thing is that I've seen a lot of hate aimed at Yumi. Somehow people hate that you can't target her because she's not running around. Well, this mod is fixing that. You think that's cursed? Oh, it gets worse. If you really want to roleplay a bronze tier mid laner, you can rely on the wheelchair Yasuo, who's being dragged around by his own brother. Also, do you remember the time Lil Nas X tweeted about Nudier? Yeah, of course someone turned it into a mod. It exists just like Viego carrying Sarah Fortune. I don't remember that scene from Ruined King. Now, as I mentioned, using kit bashing, we can also import other models from other games into League of Legends. For example, wanna see Yae Miko in League of Legends? Yeah, me neither, but here she is as Ahri. Or how about some good old villagers from Minecraft acting as the shopkeepers? Or how about we lean into the set memes with Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? And if you really get into a situation where you think that the entire team is out there to get you, feel free to vote them out with Among Us Amumu, which is just as dumb as it may sound. But it is still not anywhere close to something like Burger King Viego. A model you might remember from the 2011 hit Sneak King. But of course I understand that 2011 happened a while ago. I understand that some of you may not have been alive back then. So here's something that might represent your generation. That's right, the Skibidi Toilet Neferi. And by any chance, even if this one does not excite you, I know the younger audiences, you are all about football these days, which is something you don't get a lot of in League of Legends. But thankfully, this Milio Messi skin can fix that. Now again, even though most of these skins just exist for some silly fun, there are also those that tackle serious issues with the game design. It is things that Riot should have fixed already, such as Briar with shoes. Nah, that's stupid. Briar with Nikes though. Also, we've seen how the League community is divided into two camps. It's those who didn't like the spree of overly sexy champions, and those who did. Harpy Syndra serves at least one of these. Look, I know you're still mad that Nami got the legendary skin, but this is the most I can do. But honestly, we could go for days talking about silly custom skins for League of Legends. There is an endless sea of them. So instead, I would like to talk about the other side of creating custom skins. I'd like to bring up some creators who take it seriously. Or at least as seriously as you can take a hobby which you are doing for fun. And they made things that could legitimately be part of League of Legends. Nay, they would be better for them. So the first absolutely godly skin I would like to point out is the Necrit skin. It is a Necrit skin for Karthus, which literally just took the model from a ruined king and attached it to Karthus' skeleton. And honestly, it looks really good. Okay, jokes aside, there are a few creators who absolutely stand apart. With one of these being called Sauron Kaiser. A person who's made some absolutely stellar skins. It is anything from porting Pokemon into League, to getting the Berserker into this universe, to Luffy, to Cyberpunk Urgot, though my favorite is potentially the Space Marines in League of Legends. But even these pale in comparison to all the Minecraft mods. These are fully modeled champions with custom animations that simply work. I mean, look at the Enderman! Who would have thought that was Fiddlesticks? So if you're really interested in some high quality skins, this is one of the stops you should visit. With the other one worth your attention being Blue Jay. You see, when it comes to custom skins, skins are not the only thing you can do. You can mod anything from the announcer packs, which are usually just meme soundbites, but more importantly, you can make custom maps. Especially those that people have always wanted. Take the Dark Star Rift, for example. Yeah, you can't always guarantee quality, but Blue Jay surely can. With an impressive portfolio, such as the Winter map, which is what the players have wanted for years. Or how about the Spirit Blossom Summoner's Rift? Or one that's more recent, they also made an entire Star Guardian Summoner's Rift. Like, yeah, I would agree that maybe this map doesn't have the best clarity, but it still looks very impressive. With their newest addition being related to Halloween. Because somehow they also made an entire Harrowing map. The reason why this one is so cool is because it actually looks like something Riot would make. From the map layout to the new minions to just details behind every corner. Including all the monsters being reskinned as well. This one actually looks insane. With my favorite being the old Yorick, who's just burying the classic cancelled champions. As well some other very well known classics. So if anything, this one really feels like a mark of the return of custom skins. Because up to this point, it was cool to see custom skins pop up every now and then. But now it absolutely feels like the community got a grip on it. And now, I wonder, what's the community gonna make next? Surely, nothing is off the table.